is how we do. We keep on rocking. Just come on, shake it, baby, baby, baby. Shake it, mama, shake it, mama, shake it, mama, yeah.
Are you so? Yeah, that's me. All right, put your hands on the wall. Click, click. And took him to the Gray Bar Motel.
We had one showed up for the written.
All right,
This
guys.
guy.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry, guys. We try to go live, but the Wi-Fi here is challenging, and not sure why my data with AT&T is pretty weak over here. Also, I don't know. Maybe it's the room. I don't know. But I'm here today with Ricky Stamps. He's with the Sheriff's Department. I'm here with Doug Tracy, who's with the CHP. He's a DOT officer. And so today what we're trying to do is, well, we were going to answer some questions, but now I'll just ask some, and he'll give you some stories on his history and how long he's been in the DOT and what you guys need to look for and stuff. And then after that, we'll talk to Ricky and stuff as far as the Sheriff's Department goes and what they look for as far as big trucks go. So first of all, I'll let Doug Tracy introduce himself and talk to you guys.
Hey, guys. Yeah, not too much about me. I was 35 years highway patrol, commercial enforcement. My dad drove, I drove, and even when I started with the highway patrol, I told my dad, hey, I'm with the highway patrol, and he says, oh, you're with the enemy. And it's like, no, but so most of the time out there, it's not so much that they want to. It happens, not so much that they want to hammer truckers. It's just that you guys need to know your side of it so that you have more information. So, you know, with my 35 years, so what I'm doing now is I am going with companies, and I'm their consultant. They're bringing me in so that all their ducks are in a row, so if and when they get inspected.
Now you're talking about your consultant now. Do you have information to share to the people? So
yeah.
For the people that's in California, as far as contact information.
Yeah. Well, you've got my info.
Okay.
Yeah, you've got my info.
I'll put in the description, guys, his information.
Yeah, and it's just like I said, I do driver meetings, just filling them in. You know, and you all know the big thing coming, electronic logs. Many times I've heard, oh, they're canceling that, they're not going to do it, they're not going to do it. No, it was challenged, it was kicked out of the Supreme Court, so December 18th, it's coming. And Texas and Arizona have already said there's not going to be any soft enforcement. December 18th, if you're from California, any other state, going through Arizona, and they stop you and they'll ask you, where's your electronic log? If you don't have one, you're out of service. They're going to park you, and then you don't move until electronic log is installed in your truck. And you know, I worked for the state. The state of California was always hurry up and wait. Well, that's the same with these electronic logs. So what I would do is get them now. Don't, oh, well, they're not going to do it. They're not, no. Like I said, the OOIDA, the Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association, already challenged it. They spent a year to a year and a half on the legal paperwork, submitted it, and the Supreme Court took one look at it and said, no, it's going through. And so just, you know, you got to be ready for things. And that's why Rick invited us, so we can kind of maybe point you in the right way.
Cool. Really quick on a question. A lot of schools, which I was telling you before we started filming, they don't teach drivers anything. And Ricky, I don't know if you know this, they don't teach them to adjust brakes, right? And everybody knows when you're going down hills and brakes are getting hot and they get cold and they get hot and cold, or slack adjusters are getting gummed up a little bit and don't work properly, it's nothing for a brake to get out of adjustment.
Yes.
You know, so we have so many guys going over the road, going through scales, and they don't even know how to adjust brakes. If they ever get pulled into the scale for a brake adjustment, they're going to have to call a mechanic.
Right.
For a 5-minute, you know, go under there and do it. Not only that, I think it's a safety issue because they have places, brake checks, before you go down these big steep hills.
Yeah.
These guys are probably going there thinking it's a place for a lunch break or something because they don't know how to adjust the brakes and get them ready to go down the hill. And I think that's terrible about the schools and how they're pushing people out that way. What do you two think about all that?
I agree. I mean, safety first. That's first and foremost. If that truck is not safe, something happens, that comes back to you as a driver. You know, by the time it gets to the court system, it's too late. You don't even want to get to that point. My advice is to take advantage of every opportunity there is for safety checks. Do that first. I mean, I just can't stress that enough. We've had people come into the court and, you know, you see these collisions and things that happen all because one person decided, well, I only have enough time to check the safety of my truck. Check it. That 2 minutes or 3 minutes that you spent, that you saved, you thought you saved, going through the scales because you thought, oh, I got away with it. It's not about that. It's not about getting away with it. It's about safety first. Do it. Whatever it takes as far as that amount of time, it's going to save you now rather than you having to pay for it later down the line.
Exactly, and I can jump on that. You know, I mean, old school, we learned all that stuff.
Right.
And, you know, it was, you need to know every aspect of your truck. Whereas it's true, some of these schools, I used to go inspect them. And the guys would just, you know, I'd pop the hood and show them the steering system and show them, you know, this is what the inspector highway patrol's looking at. And they'd be like deer in headlights. They're like, what? You know, and then even any of my guys right now that I'm doing their 90-day inspection on, I will still take them and show them because they're doing it at the scales now. So there's also, you all know, out of service standards. Well, they've changed a few of them, and so I show the guys in the book, if you're put out of service for this, they have to do these steps first to put you out of service. Well, before, what it was is if you had this problem, like a brake chamber leak and air, black and white, you're done, park it over there, call a mechanic, you're out. Now they have to go through steps to put you out of service. Well, a few of my guys have already the officer told them, hey, you're out of service, park your truck. And he told them, wait a minute, my inspector, 35 years highway patrol, said you're supposed to do this, 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 and then determine if I'm out of service. Well, he said the officer got so flustered, he told him to blank and get out of my scale. So he called me and said, Doug, it was awesome. I not only left, but he was so upset I knew what he was supposed to do. I didn't even get a ticket. Whereas you'll still get a ticket for a brake chamber losing air, but to put you out of service, it's got to meet criteria. So it's just knowledge. Get to know, reach out. Like for Rick, SoCal Trucker, reach out to things and don't just I'll worry about that when I cross that bridge or that red ruby is in my rear view mirror. No, learn, get to know things and, pick things up while you're out there. And, don't listen to what we call the cafe lawyers, the truck stop lawyers. Oh, well, you don't have to do this, this, and this. Next thing you know, there's a ticket, print hard 3 copies because you're listening to some guy that doesn't know anything. So reach out, like SoCal Trucker. I've watched his videos, and it's awesome. It's awesome.
Now, here's another thing is as far as like logbooks, a lot of people they don't know how to do logs, and even the ELDs, a lot of people they're doing ELDs on their phones and stuff like that, where you have to do a manual sign, stuff like that. And I've seen guys on their days off, they don't even go in and sign the logbooks. They don't think they have to. They think they need to sign only when they're working. And like we talked about before about the bill ladings and stuff on the logs, how crucial is that on the logbook if you get pulled over in the scales?
Yeah, because what's going to happen now, when the ELDs are mandatory, December 18th this year, well, like I said, Texas and Arizona are not going to have any. They've already stated there's going to be no soft enforcement. December 18th, if you're in Arizona and you get pulled over, and they say, where's your electronic log? Oh, well, I thought it wasn't going through. Well, now you're getting a ticket, and the DOT, if you're written under federal authority on a logbook, the ticket is going to be $2,636, and a 1.5 on your license. And then to top it all off, after you signed your name, then they're going to park you and say you're out of service, and you're not moving until you have an electronic log installed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a question. Let's talk about logs for a little bit. If you get pulled in the scales and your log is wrong, let's say you don't put a billing number on your log, or you don't sign it, what happens? Do you get a ticket? Does
Yes.
it cost money?
Yeah.
How much does it cost?
I've got my book. Here's my DOT. You can see I've gone through it. This is the California Title 13. They're both identical as far as there's 11 things that have to be on that logbook. And so I was in a big class with all Highway Patrol, LAPD, Long Beach, a few sheriff, and we're all learning logbooks. And what they did is the first thing when you say, give me your logbook, well, first off, you give them your logbook. You don't say, well, by law, I have 30 minutes to catch it up. No. You hand it over. And then the first thing we do is we look through one date, truck number, truck company, all that, 1, 2, through 11. And once they're done with that, then what they're going to do is then they're going to look along your remarks. Because I had one of my guys, he got popped in Texas, and he left L.A.
What's up, bro?
No, he left Los Angeles, but he wrote L.A. So he said the officer
I'm
took his
interview right now
logbook,
with the
looked
DOT
at it,
officer and the
and
sheriff.
honestly, guys,
Tell them to get out
if
of
they
here.
take your logbook and say, I'll be right back, and they go to their vehicle, you might as well get ready, because they saw something that usually it's going to give you a ticket. So he said the officer came back and he said, hey, I checked my computer, my Google map. Where is Law, California? He says, sir, that's Los Angeles. Yes, it is. Print hard 3 copies. Because you have to write out Los Angeles. So once they're done with that, then they're going to look into your 11 driving plus 3 for a 14-day. Make sure you have 10 off. Make sure there's 8 hours in the sleeper, et cetera, et cetera. But if you forget to put down your load identification, your bill of lading, or shipper and commodity, either or, boom, logbook. Yeah, I was at a meeting and an officer came in and said he got 8 logbook tickets the other day, and I thought he was counting up numbers, all that. No, all 8 were for that. I'm like, oh, come on. Do you know each one of them? That's a 1.5, and back then it was about $1,000. He said he didn't care. He didn't care. So make sure I can give Rick the information, but there are 11 things that must be on that logbook. And then the second thing on your logbook is when you finish it, that's when you sign it. Because you're signing it at the end of your tour of duty, the end of your day on that date, that everything on there is true and accurate. So it's not like, it's like your daily. You do a pre-trip in the morning, make sure everything's good. Then at the end of the day, that's when you finish the pre-trip paperwork.
My next question is this. How often do you see drivers in violation of logs when you inspect them?
Refund. Every day. But see, and that's the thing is, for me, it was more of, I wanted the guys that are running 80, 85 hours. I didn't care, like, for me, it would be like, hey, don't forget you have to put this, what's your load number? What's this? I didn't care about numbers. It was like, it's like safety to me. So, if a guy forgets, like he puts Rancho Cucamonga or R Cucamonga, then I tell, hey, it's Rancho Cucamonga. Look on your Google map. Look on your map. What does it say? It doesn't say, I had one guy, Thousand Oaks, California. He put 1000 Oaks, California. Thousand Oaks, California. And the kicker is on that is he said, well, Doug, I can't spell very well. So I told him, I go ahead and spell it out. He goes, THOSNDOAKSCA. And I go, good enough, because it says you have to spell it out. You don't have to correctly spell it out. You have to spell it out. But he said, well, everyone knows that's 1,000, 1000. And I'm like, yeah, everyone does. Now, if you've got an extra $1,000 in your pocket, keep doing it. Yeah. So it's things like that. Reach out and learn.
What do you want to say as far as when you inspect the trucks? What do you see most common when you're inspecting that's wrong with the trucks? And why do you think that is?
The most common things I would run across were the big one, excessive grease and oil on the underside. You know, I tell the guys, hey, your truck needs a bath. Worn brake lines, but the big one was excessive grease and oil.
Wow.
You know, because you're thinking, oh, I'm going over the road, what does that matter? But there's actually an officer in Santa Clarita that he will write you a fix-it ticket. But while he's inspecting your truck, if at any time one drop of oil hits the ground, then he's going to write you a real $368 ticket. And so I asked him, what, you know, hey, where'd the oil come from? It came from the ground, let it go back. But he said he rides a Harley, and he said he was out riding his bike, came to a stop sign, put his foot down, there was a big puddle of oil, and he slipped out, dropped his bike. And I go, yeah, but how do you know that was from a truck and or from a car? He goes, he doesn't care because it's true. In the vehicle code, it states the only thing that can come off a commercial truck is clear water and live bird feathers. And I never saw him do it, but I heard he actually pulled over and stopped Zaki Farms, the chicken haulers, with all, you've seen them out there, all the cages.
Yeah.
And he actually pulled a few of them over, took out his stick, handed it to the driver and said, here, check every one. You're losing a lot of feathers. He goes, well, sir, they're chickens. And he goes, yeah, check every cage. Every bird better be alive. If there's one dead bird, I'm writing you a ticket. So he would make him, booga, 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 booga. If there was one not alive, I'd be going, sir, that one's sleeping. But so it's, you get, you know, and is that a safety hazard to me? No, but it's in the vehicle code, so legally, he's correct. Legally, he's correct. Is it a pain? Yes, it is. So, you know, and my dad driving, he's way gone driving, but man, there would have been problems if he pulled my dad over.
That sounds like something to do with you.
Yeah.
See, the cool thing with Doug is, you know, like I told you guys in my previous video, he's for the drivers. You know, everybody wants to look at CHP or sheriff and stuff like that, like they're the enemy and this and that and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But it's all about how you present yourself. And a lot of people, as long as you're trying to do and trying to learn and stuff like that, some people take that in consideration. And I want to tell everybody really quick that everybody out there that dislikes sheriffs or CHP or whatnot, because whatever YouTube videos you see or what you see on the news, everybody's not like that, you know. And the handful of bad people should make the whole entire CHP or sheriff's department, you know, as a whole look bad. So there's a lot of good guys out there trying to do their job just like you guys are. Now, really quick, Ricky, in the courthouses and stuff like that, I'm sure a lot of truck drivers went in there and stuff like that. How crucial was their tickets as far as how did they present themselves? What did the judge do with their tickets, and how expensive do you think the tickets were at that time?
Tickets were abundantly expensive. You had your penalty assessment. At that time, it was like 200%. Now, I don't know what it is. It's been a while since I've been in the system, but it's probably well over 250%. That's just kind of like a tax that's added on to your ticket. The penalty assessment is more than the ticket. Not only that, when you go into court and you think, okay, well, this is the amount of the ticket, the judge will tell you the penalty assessment's added on to that. You get to the window or talking to the clerk and it's time to pay the ticket, and most people scream and go, well, I didn't know that. Yes, you did. It's on record. They tell you that. It's the penalty assessment. That's what's so expensive. The other thing is, while we're talking about preventive measures, you guys can purchase a vehicle code. Get to know what's in that vehicle code. Because these sites are written based on what's in that vehicle code. If you know, then that keeps you out of trouble and you know what to do and what not to do. But that vehicle code is kind of like your employee handbook. You learn that vehicle code from front to back. It's a lot of information in there. It'll save you in the end. Because those fines in court are not cheap. Not only that, when you go into court, at any time, I don't care what point your testimony is, if you admit guilt, you're done. That's it. You only have to do it once. So if you admit guilt at that time, you're done. So my advice is to get familiar with that vehicle code, prep yourself, have everything that you need as far as documentation when you come to court. Present your case in a professional manner. That way it clears everything up for the court, and as well as you having your information in order, it clears it up for you. You'll have more understanding as to what your fines are going to be. You're probably going to save yourself some money by having your ducks in order. So prep. Can't stress that enough. Safety, safety, safety.
Very, very, very